Has God been speaking a word into your life? Or maybe, if you're honest, your faith feels a little shaky right now. Let me tell you something I've been reflecting on. Sometimes, the line between faith and foolishness can feel as thin as a strand of hair, or as wide as the Grand Canyon. But here's the thing. The Bible is filled with stories of faith that remind us of what it means to stand firm, even when the ground beneath us feels uncertain. Think of Abraham, our father of faith. In Genesis chapter 12, God called him to leave everything he knew, his land, his family, his comfort, and go to a place God would show him. God promised to make him a great nation, to bless him, and to make his name great. Abraham didn't have all the details. He didn't have a GPS guiding his way. All he had was God's word. Yet Hebrews chapter 11 verse 8 tells us, by faith Abraham, when called to go to a place he would later receive as his inheritance, obeyed and went, even though he did not know where he was going. That kind of faith that obeys without knowing, is what we're called to. But faith isn't always immediate. Sometimes it's a long, hard journey. Look at the story of Joseph. God gave him dreams of greatness, yet his path was anything but smooth. He was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and wrongfully imprisoned. For years, it must have seemed like those promises were as distant as the stars. Yet, through it all, Joseph held onto his faith. And when the time was right, God fulfilled those promises. Genesis chapter 50 verse 20 captures his perspective. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Faith isn't just about believing in what God will do for us individually. It's also about trusting in the promises God has given to his people collectively. As a church, as a nation, we stand on the faith of those who came before us. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 13 reminds us that many of the heroes of faith did not receive the things promised. They only saw them and welcomed them from a distance, admitting that they were foreigners and strangers on earth. Their faith planted seeds that we're reaping today. But let's bring this closer to home. What about you? What has God promised you? Maybe he's calling you to step out, like Abraham, into the unknown. Maybe he's asking you to wait, like Joseph, through a season that feels endless. Or maybe he's reminding you that your faith isn't just for you, it's part of a bigger story, a tapestry of faith that spans generations. Remember, though, faith isn't just blind optimism. It's anchored in Jesus, the foundation of our hope. Hebrews chapter 12 verse 2 urges us to fix our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. It's through him that we have access to all of God's promises. So, as you think about where you are today, I'll ask again, has God been speaking a word in your life? If he has, hold on to it. And if your faith feels a little insecure, that's okay. Faith doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be placed in the one who is.
Bring in